7410, 7422, and 7450. This is first reading, so, okay. All right, have a good flight. Any questions or discussion on any of these policies? So these will be back for action on the next agenda.
I guess my question would be, at this point, are we, maybe I'm back to 5271.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, I'm just looking
No
at the other. I'm wondering if we are at a place where we're not bringing this back for a second reading because we're going to await the legal analysis and some further discussion before we determine whether we want to make any revisions to the policy.
I'd like to wait. Do we have to approve it the next board meeting?
No, that's just been practice. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, I think it would be good to get more information.
Okay.
And can I ask another request? And it's getting late, so I didn't want to throw this out, but I know in some other organizations there's an avenue to go for people to go to Human Resources Department. You know, I don't know if we have staffing to do that, but again, to kind of take it, where Kimberly was saying, you know, to take it out of your immediate supervisory chain, maybe that might be another option to give people.
I want to say, what are the?
I believe
That
it
is,
is.
I think,
Is that-
built into
okay.
the policy or procedure,
But we can, and maybe that could be part of the analysis of that. I was just thinking about that.
Are we done with 5271? All right. So that will not be an action item on the next agenda, just for your information. So, all right. And I don't see any questions or discussion on these particular policies either.
I have to be honest, we had so much to go through.
I know
that
we did.
these last
And they looked
ones,
pretty
I knew that we
straightforward.
needed to go through them.
Changes.
So if I say something next meeting, it's because of that reason.
And if you would just let staff know in advance once you have looked at them so that they have advance notice of it, that would be great. But yeah, there was a lot to go through for this meeting. All right, next item on the agenda is future agenda items.
I think you should all take the summer off. Quite honestly.
Have a future agenda item. So, two future agenda items, or they might be wrapped up into one. One is, I noticed, and we had an email go around to all of us, that there's been some agenda items changed or new things added for executive session, or study sessions changed. And so I want us to be able to discuss in the future agenda, kind of go over again our procedures and our policy and how are we getting board consensus on all of these things, and if we have an executive session, do we need board consensus? And
So I can answer some of that. In our policies, it's spelled out pretty clearly in 1400. I mean, I'm happy to have this on an agenda and we can discuss it.
I don't know if we can discuss it right now because it wasn't on.
You know, it's an operational thing. I'll just tell you what this says, and you can decide whether you would like to bring it back or not, or you can just read policy 1400 before.
Great that you had them handy there.
I carry them around. 1400 and 1420 address some of your concerns, so if you want to take a look at those and then get back to me.
I'd like to have the discussion. I would like to have it as a discussion. So so just for clarification, we had an email go around where another board member was concerned that the board cannot talk about this behind closed doors. And then I sent an email trying to say that I wanted to support this, and now we're in this kind of quandary where we can't talk about it over email. So that's my quandary that's happened and why I now want to have it in a public discussion. Because I want to have dialogue about how we're bringing things forward. And I know we just had an executive session added, so and making sure that, and I do feel that a lot of things that I bring forward get put on the agenda, but I do notice sometimes things get changed or added to agenda that I didn't know we had consensus on or had discussed in this format.
Do you have any, okay, bring
Well, I'm
examples?
thinking of the
Bring
upcoming
examples next time.
executive- I have an example, the
Okay.
upcoming executive session. For
Yeah,
the
so-
contract negotiations, I'm trying to be very
Yeah,
ginger talking about, since that will be an executive session.
so, according to our policy 1400, special meetings may be called by the president or on a petition of a majority of the board members. So it is in our policy that I have the authority to do that, and there are times when I would hope that it's not something that you feel like I'm abusing. I try pretty hard to listen to you and to put things on the agenda that I am sensing or hearing that you have concerns about, and that's, if you'll notice, I can't even think of a time when I have a future agenda item request or something that I put on the agenda from my own request. So if you're feeling that I'm not doing that, then yeah, absolutely, I hope you'll talk to me about that. But if we want to have a discussion
Can't
about
talk
that.
about it because we all had a discussion, so that's why I'm talking about it in public right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, please, if you feel like that is an issue, then please bring it up. Yeah.
No, I don't
Happy
think
to have it in
that
public.
you personally are abusing your power at all. I think that was good that you clarified that a special session could be, you could call a special session. And
Right.
I don't think you're personally abusing your power at all.
Yeah.
So I think there's been some confusion about different things that have been added to the agenda. We haven't had this discussion about it. And so, and that might be something that we talk about next time with Dawn here too, where we're all. Because I know Dawn had sent around the first email, and then we couldn't talk about it, so.
So coming up for normal review is our operating protocols.
Perfect.
Anyway, we're
What is
actually a
that?
little bit
What is
late. We signed it in June of last year, so it should
Is
be
that
on
going
the
to be on the
agenda for, that would be, like, this is a rare thing that that would be my recommendation, that it would be on the next agenda.
Okay.
Because we
Perfect.
discuss that on an annual basis. And I think there has been enough confusion that there's
Yeah.
definitely a need for clarification to make sure that our policies are in sync, and I think that's what you're saying.
And I do feel
Yeah.
my items that I talk about get,
Yeah.
so that's.
Okay. Good. Right.
So we are adding this
So we are-
discussion.
We are adding our operating procedures. It's so much better to do that in a study session, because then we can have a dialogue about it. I think we've done it in a study session in the past.
I agree.
And so maybe we can make that a part of the study session for July.
And maybe Sandy, you had referenced the civility policy from Riverview that you were thinking of. Maybe you could dig that up and send that to Janet. Maybe that should be part of this study session.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
I asked Sandy to look up the civility policy from Riverview that she had mentioned before. Maybe.
Sorry,
Talk about-
is this
For that same discussion.
Yeah,
for the same? Okay.
For the same, for that,
Okay.
part of that discussion.
So Larry reminded me that that's the budget discussion, so
So August,
we, I think,
I
probably
think August is
sending it
there.
to August. Then also, then we have the benefit of having, maybe have had the diversity training as well, so, yeah, I
Okay,
think,
That
does
sounds
that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
We only have one. And then in that email that I wrote, Dawn had requested, and she's not here right now, she had requested that we have the discussion about tone at the top, and just kind of the structure of how dialogue is being, and I had written back to Janet, but then that was, I guess, a three-way conversation, which I didn't know. I had written back to Janet saying that, you know, I would like to see that put on the agenda. I know Dawn's requested it a couple of times, and so I wrote that to you. So now I'm having the discussion here. That's why you know, that I was saying that I support having that on the agenda. So I was just writing that to Janet, I support that. So if anyone else supports us putting that on the agenda, but Dawn's not here to make her case, so maybe we should talk about this next time.
Well, would that be part of the study session? You know, if we're talking about the civility from a board perspective and then talking about with,
That would be,
you know, superintendent, would that be a good time to do it?
yeah. For me, that is. And I'm just saying, I know she's asked for it a couple times, so I'm supporting that, and it got sent in an email, and now here we were in all this quandary because we need to be talking in front of all of you. And the camera.
Anything else? All right, next item on the agenda. And part of that discussion on the board operating procedures will be board member use of social media as well, so, and open public meetings and how it all intersects. So that's part of the policy.
And if there's updates on any of the WASDA or the National School Board regarding social media, because I know when we went to trainings, it's very vague. So if there's any updated, I know at least 3 of us discuss things on social media, and I know for myself, I try to be very careful of what I say, but you know, so if you have any, if new in this last year, there's new updated things from WASDA or the National School Board, would be great.
I'll take a look.
Yeah.
I know that part of the issue is Open Public Meetings Act, and if there are 3 people on it, then it's officially a discussion, and
But we're also citizens, so that's where the quandary comes in. And what,
I think if it's about the school district, yeah, see.
if it is
it's a school district matter.
discussing school district business, it is a
I pulled
violation.
myself back on that, it's making me nervous.
yeah. Well, again, I think this is why we need to have the discussion, and
Yeah.
where are those lines? And I
Yeah,
think
no,
even
I agree.
WASDA says that's a fuzzy line, so
Yeah.
it's not quite that black and, that black and white. So I think that's a good discussion to add to that.
Yeah.
And maybe they've come up with updated.
I'll take a look.
information, Yeah.
Because I'm not aware of any, but I
You know,
will
Bill Gore has
absolutely-
his new book out, maybe he talked about it in there.
Say that again.
Bill Gore has his new
Does he?
book out.
Oh, does he?
on, Yeah, school board governance, maybe he
Okay.
has it in there.
Do you have it?
I'm gonna look that
I'm
up.
gonna get it.
Yeah, I
Just
haven't seen
'cause-
that. Yeah,
I
thank
wanna see it too.
But, it might have some of this updated stuff, and I'll actually ask him if he has a section in there on that. That'd be a good question.
It's a good question.
you. Is it a NSBA book? I mean, was it published by NSBA, or is it just a book that he's published?
I don't remember, I just know there's like 13 different contributors, and they were the editors of it, so,
Interesting.
yeah. Maybe I'll send it around to Cindy, but then I'll ask at the same time, is there a section on this?
Okay. All right, next on the agenda is board reports and communications, and Amy is up first.
I'll just be quick, since it's been an awfully long night. I just wanted to let you folks know that, excuse me, I just snuck some chocolate and now it's stuck in my throat. On June 12th, I attended the Timbercrest PTSA meeting to see if folks had any questions and, provide any sort of resources or whatever. And it was a very constructive meeting and positive, and lots of good discussions on how to support their community as the PTA and the building. So it was a very forward-looking discussion, which was good. So I just wanted to make it. And that's besides graduations, schools foundation meetings. What else is there?
Sandy? Thank you, Amy.
Similar, five of the 7 graduation ceremonies. Obviously, favorite time of year. The similarity in the kids making it through, but yet each school managing to have their own imprint on each ceremony.
Very much so.
It's very, very delightful to see. My only other, I think, field days and all that good stuff, cute stuff going on. But we did have a ceremony at North Shore Junior High. A number of key players, if you will, were retiring, as well as principal moving to another junior high that was not to be named. We had Heather Miller attend. Kids gave the principal as well as the office staff that are retiring a standing ovation for what they have done for the school. So just a really nice moment of community recognizing the good work that's being done and the people involved. So thank you to Heather for coming on.
Kimberly?
Actually, I was on vacation for the last 10 days, though I still had to call in for a meeting. I did call in for that meeting while I was gone. Yeah, so we saw Mickey. And had a school board meeting.
All right, thank you, Kimberly. I attended all of the graduations and it was such a recharging for me. It was so fun to see their faces when they get their diploma and then just this explosion of joy on their faces. It was just awesome. Great past 2 weeks. And that's it. I just have a couple of notes. I find them. July 15th is the Auditor's Exit Conference, 11 to 12:30 p.m. In the Superintendent's Conference Room. So let Cindy know if you are planning to attend so she knows whether.
What time did you say again?
11 to 12:30.
So I'm planning to attend.
Okay.
And I think, were you planning on attending?
That was,
Yeah, so I think we'll probably have more than 3 there.
Yeah.
Or at least 3 there.
Yep.
So those was July 15th.
Cindy, if you could advertise that, it
that's
sounds like we have.
the picnic at the
Yes, and
Woodinville
that's
Schools
the
Foundation.
that's the next thing. North Shore Schools Foundation, Friends of Foundation Family Picnic, 5 to 8 p.m. at Wilmot Gateway Park. And as you heard, board members are invited.
I'm gonna try to make that one.
Me too.
I'm still working on my schedule on that one, so.
Me, 3.
Otherwise, that's all I have, so the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.